In today's video, I'm going to discuss why I'm starting intermittent fasting.
All by myself.
Hey guys, what's going on? This is Paul Ravella from ProPhysique.com, and today's video is going to be about my attempt at getting into some intermittent fasting. And so I just want to discuss what I currently know about it, what I currently feel about it, why I'm doing it, and kind of what some of my expectations are. So if there's anyone out there who has done intermittent fasting, I'd love your feedback below. Anyone out there who has tried different approaches, I want to explain exactly what my goals are, and let's see what comes of this, because it's certainly got its benefits. I think we're beyond debate at this point whether or not fasting has benefits. The only questions that really remain for me are, is it beneficial for my specific goals? Because some people are just looking for weight loss. I'm not just looking for weight loss at this point. So for those that aren't familiar with me, I am a competitive bodybuilder. I started competing in 2008, and the last time I competed was 2015. So this year I'm going to be dieting down and competing in the year 2018. I've already started getting adapted to my calories, and I've changed my diet a little bit, pumped up the cardio a little bit. No major changes yet, but just getting my diet really in line. And so what I realized very quickly was, with my lifestyle right now, I have a son who's 3, a wife who's pregnant, and a very, very busy business. And one of the things that most occupies my time is meal prep, thinking about food, what I'm going to eat, how I'm going to eat, heating things up, literally, like, sometimes just breaking my mental focus to go eat sets me back, and sometimes that's annoying. So I've been using things like meal prep services because our kitchen has not been completed, our remodel, so meal prep has been a struggle. And then even with that, having a child and a wife that are both very active and busy in the best way possible, sometimes meal prep just isn't a priority. So I started thinking about how I could accomplish all of my goals. Fasting, or the approach of restricting your meals to a certain time of day, started to take some shape for me, because I found that breakfast for me was often very difficult, because right when I get up, my son wants to spend time with me, he wants to do things with me, and in the evening is when I typically get most of my work done. I didn't want to stop working so that I could go prepare a meal or prepare a couple meals. So I came up with a plan, and I've been using it for now. This is the 3rd day, and so I want to talk about the approach that I'm using. The approach I'm using is basically where I'm going to eat most of my meals, all of my calories, in an 8-hour window, and then I'm going to fast 16 hours. So it sounds pretty drastic, but in reality, I typically probably fast 8 to 10 hours a day just because of sleep, right? So before bed, sleep, and then wake up. I don't usually eat immediately. So yeah, I automatically had that built in. So what I'm basically going to be doing is skipping breakfast. I'm going to have a coffee and a water when I wake up. Probably, drink some branched chain amino acids with that. And then I'm going to power through until 11 a.m. All right, 11 a.m. is going to be my first big meal of the day. And then I'm going to finish my last meal of the day. Probably at 7 p.m. I'll have like a large meal. And then what I did last night was about 7:45. I had another smaller meal, like a Halo Top and a Quest bar, just to kind of make sure I get my calorie intake, because at this point of the fat loss phase, my calories are still pretty high. And so what I think I want to do today is, as embarrassing and weird as it will be for me to do it at this point, because I don't usually like to take my shirt off that often, but I think it'll be good for me because I need some motivation. I want to get excited. My goal is to compete this year, and so what I'm going to do today is do like a comparison video. So this will basically be our starting point. I was 223 pounds today on December 22nd, right? Yeah, I think we're December 22nd. So 223 pounds on December 22nd. I want to get down to 210 pounds by March, maybe, 205, somewhere in that range. So I understand that to do that, caloric restriction is the most important thing, right? It doesn't matter if you're using a fasting approach or whatever type of diet approach you're using, you have to create a caloric restriction. So I think for me, it'll be a little bit easier if I can just focus on those 8 hours, getting my meals in. And so far, let me tell you what I've learned, because I experimented with fasting a few months back, and what I really liked about it was, as I've gotten a little bit older, my digestive system kind of seems to get backed up easily. Like I'll have a couple rough days there where the old digestive system is just not my friend. I've got a lot of gas. Every time I eat, I kind of feel full and bloaty. And so far what I've noticed by skipping meals for a long period of time is that I eat that first meal and I don't immediately feel like overwhelmed by it, right? I feel like it just digests super quickly and I didn't even eat anything. So whereas I typically eat every 4 or 5 hours, even though I'm going to be eating every 2.5 to 3 hours in that 8-hour window to get my calories in, I've found that for me the food has been digesting much better and I've just felt better. I haven't had that distension in my stomach. I haven't had gas. I haven't, felt any of that. So immediately for me, the intermittent fasting approach seems to improve my digestion. Now, that could be for many reasons. It could be something other than what the intermittent fasting is doing. But again, this is my personal experiment. I'm not preaching that this is what you should do. And I may, after this month, go back to my typical 4 or 5 meal approach. I typically eat every day about 8 or 9, 1 or 2, 5 or 6, 10 or 11, with some added calories in between as needed. I like 4 big meals. So it's not going to be a huge departure for me. The biggest difference is I'm not going to start eating until 11 and I'm going to be done by 8. So early in the morning I can just focus on getting up, spending time with the family, and then getting to work. I don't have to sit there and cook and clean and do all the things that I've been doing. And then at night, I can focus on working from 8 p.m. on. Well, I usually go to work about 9:30 or 10 after the family goes to bed. But those couple hours can be uninterrupted because I've already noticed after 3 days that, the first day not eating after 8 p.m. was very difficult because I usually eat every night around 11 or 12. And it was very difficult. I was hungry. So what I did was I kept branched chain amino acids. I used Core ABC by my desk, and I just drank that. And I drank, I think I had a diet soda. Every time I would just get hunger pains, I would just drink water. Well, it's gotten better each day to the point where just the branched chains are perfectly fine. I love the way that the core ones taste. So it's still like a treat to me. And I wake up and I'm not ravenous in the morning anymore. I'm not like, gotta eat first thing. I wake up, make myself a coffee, hang out, go get some work done, come back to the house around 11 to eat a meal. And it just seems to be working for me at this point. We'll see. As far as gym, we're 3 days in. So it's going to be really hard for me to tell you anything about gym performance or how I'm feeling or body composition at this point. There's probably not a major enough change. So what I'm going to do, this is just the starting point, and we're going to start the conversation. Hey Paul, I think what you're doing is cool. Hey Paul, I've done this. Hey Paul, you're an idiot. If you're not eating every 3 hours, you're a loser. Whatever your opinion, that's fine. I'm going to take it all in. I'm going to dissect it, but I'm just doing a personal experiment on me because I think it's kind of irresponsible to discuss something with clients that I've not done myself. And I've fasted before. I've done a fasting approach, but it was not super specific. I would just skip a few meals, right? I'm actually going to get into a rhythm, let my body get into a rhythm. Because if you're not familiar with ghrelin, ghrelin is what makes you hungry. And your body secretes ghrelin based on your current eating patterns. So a lot of times people will say, well, I get hungry every 3 hours, that means I need to eat, it's good for my metabolism. Well, it's more than likely the pattern of your eating is creating the ghrelin spikes that are making you hungry. So what I'm hoping to learn, and all the videos and all the research that I've read indicates that my pattern of eating is going to allow me to not be hungry at the times I don't want to eat, right? So yes, my body's going to be hungry from 11 to 8, but outside of that window, I'm not going to be hungry. And that's going to be very exciting for me because one thing that typically happens with fat loss is that you're hungry around the clock, and the meals that you space out throughout the day typically can often make you hungrier. You eat a meal and you're done and you just immediately feel hungrier. So perhaps with this approach, with the 3 larger meals in the 8-hour window, maybe 4 meals total. That will change. We'll see. Maybe I go back to my old approach in the next month, but as of now, 3 days in, and I just wanted to start documenting the process. Wanted to get some pictures of the physique. I guess I'll do that now, and we'll get started and we'll discuss, perhaps in future videos. I'm not going to be doing intermittent fasting videos all the time, but I think we'll probably do an update maybe once a week, or we'll talk about it as I feel there's information. This channel, I like to provide more information to you guys, so it's not all about what's going on with me, but I figure this will be a good chance to educate myself and bring you guys along for the journey. So with that said, let's take a look at the physique. All right, so at 6'3", it was impossible for me to get anywhere near the camera and get the whole physique in, so I'm going to do an upper and lower. As you can see, very pale, but most of the body fat I have is in my lower back, lower abdominal region, love handles as we call them. I had to hike up my underwear because they were very long, so sorry if they look funky, but yeah, you can see here, I'm pretty pleased with body composition for being this body weight. Lower body is typically a little leaner than my upper body, at least to the start of the process. I can see some pretty good detail in my quads, hams, and so yeah, this is it. This is just a good starting point so we can have something to look back at in a few weeks, see how this process goes, because I'm pretty pleased with where I am. All right, guys, so that's where we're at. I'm really happy with my body composition at 223 pounds, and I'm really excited to see, when it gets closer to 215, 210, those are really lean body weights for me. So I'm excited to see how I look when I get there. The biggest things I'm going to be looking for with intermittent fasting is is there any degradation of my performance in the gym? Is there any negative changes to, I don't know, body composition? Muscle loss will probably be the biggest thing I'm concerned about, because it is going to be hard for me to get in over 200 grams of protein in an 8-hour window. So I think that's my conception, but I've also noticed that a typical meal that would make me feel full does not make me feel as, backed up anymore. I can eat that. I used to get up and have to have a real small breakfast just because my stomach was not raring to go. But now I find if I wait till 11, I can eat a significant meal and still feel good soon after. And, the other big issue for me, the concern would be the hunger. Am I going to be starving? And so far, I've noticed that I'm fine. After 8 p.m., I'm fine to go through until 11 a.m. And so, yeah, so it doesn't seem that drastic to me yet. I'm not doing anything like 24-hour fasting or a longer schedule. It's 8 hours eating window, 16 hours of fasting. And so, I've seen some positive stuff, positive research, and I just want to do it for myself, and we'll see how it goes. So for 30 days, maybe I'll do a check-in per week, and if you guys are interested, maybe each video I'll delve into a little bit more of the science behind it, some of the positive things that I've seen with relation to body composition and research, some of the hormone benefits in research, and maybe digestive benefits. We'll talk more about it as we get into it. One thing about me is that once I start doing something, I get very curious about it and I have to learn more, especially if I like it. So, all right guys, I'd love to hear your thoughts below, feedback, and let's get this journey started and see where it takes us. Thanks guys.
By myself.